Good morning. Well, it's morning for me. I think I said that last time. Getting a bit habitual. But anyway, this is question 16 from this particular uh, this particular exercise. So this is from exercise 6A, which was trying to remember what it was. Areas of let's just call it areas of sectors. I think it was something else as well. What was it? I don't know, can't remember. But anyway, we'll just call it areas of sectors because this particular question is asking a sector question. That's cool. All right, so 16. An area to be landscaped is a sector. So we're doing a sector. Just quick reminder, a sector is basically when you've got a circle, it's the slice of the pie. That's the sector. Okay, so what we have for a sector, as soon as you've got that, you go, well, I know that the area of sector is the angle of the sector out of 360 because that tells us how much of the circle that we're actually using, theta, and then pi r squared, because area equals pi r squared is our normal area for a full circle, but we got the theta on 360. Excuse me. Theta on 360, so we can designate that it's only part of it. All right. So at the moment, I'm just going to take a big texter that you guys do not seem to do, and I'm going to do that. Because I don't care right now. I mean, the main thing that we are worried about at the moment is actually answering the question that has to do with sectors. Okay, so an area to be landscaped is a sector with a radius of 19 meters. So we write down what we know, radius equals 19, and the center, theta, is 145 degrees. So it's just asking us to find the angle. So I'm going to sub that in. So area equals 145 over 360. Times pi times 19 squared. Now, unfortunately, once again, I did it this way and I can't show you the calculator, but you can tell that I'm actually putting it in because it's taking me some time and I'm talking to try and fill in the gap while I am doing that. And that's always a bit of a giveaway. So when you put that in, you'll get area equals 4556 456.796 because it keeps going on. Just double check that that's right. And that is, of course, we are doing that in meters. That's not meters. That's in meters. So this is meters squared. So that's what we've got so far. Okay. Now, the only difference is this question hasn't actually asked us to find out what the area of the sector is. We needed to find out the area of the sector so that we could answer this question here, find the total cost. Now, I said to you guys at the start of this whole course that standard maths is not easy maths. Do not get it confused with easy maths. It's just different. Now, that wasn't to make it seem as though this is going to be difficult, but the big difference between advanced maths and standard maths is in advanced maths, this would be the question, and it might be a bit more complicated question or slightly different maths, but that's what you'd be getting. You don't get a huge amount of questions that then apply it to a real life. You do get application questions, but not as many. Standard maths, however, this is very common to all of a sudden get these questions where you've got these extra bits. So had a student yesterday saying, hang on, how do I do this with money? Well, the thing is, the area of the sector part, the part that is our topic, is already done. Didn't use money at all. All we were doing, though, is finding out what our total area was for that sector so that when we found the price for it, we had something to base it on. If you think about if I'm going to paint a wall, I work out what the area of that wall is, so I work out how much paint I need. And then knowing how much paint I need, I can then work out how much it's going to cost me to paint it. Okay, so that's all we are doing. We have found the area, so we can now use that to work out how much it's going to cost us to do it. Now, this one is said it's going to be covered with turf, so I'm just going to write this down. Turf at $12.50 per square metre. And we've got top dress. And I'm actually going to not call it top dress. I'm going to call it soil because that makes my life easier. Soil at $2.30 per metre square metre. All right, so this is where it gets like just simple. You've written down what you know. Once again, you've written down what you know. So the cost is going to equal the turf cost plus the soil. That's it. Now, how do we work out the cost? We've got the cost of the turf. It is $12.50 per square metre. So that is going to be $12.50 times our square metre. So it's times our area. Okay. And then it's plus our soil. Our soil is, get rid of that, $2.30 times the area. Okay. Now, I'm going to do something that looks a little complicated, but I'm going to explain it. But that's what we're doing. Okay. So I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to go, well, both of those are multiplied by our area. So that's going to, actually, no, I'm not going to bother. I'm going to keep it really straightforward. And so we've got $12.50 times our area. Okay. Now, what is our area cost? I'm going to write in this one. I'm going to go 456.796. And I'm not going to write the rest of the numbers. I couldn't be bothered. So we'll do that. Plus $2.30 times 456.796. Now, you would then put that into your calculator and that will give you the cost. Now, I'm going to do that. Obviously, the calculator is not coming up on the screen because I chose the wrong setting when I just started to record the video, so I apologize. However, you put exactly that into the calculator and that will give you the exact answer. All we're doing is finding the cost of the turf, adding it to the cost of the soil. And the cost of the turf is based on $12.50 per square metre and the soil is $2.30 per square metre. And our square metres are there because we worked that out because that was the area of the sector. Now, when you put it into the calculator, I have put 456.796. That is an approximation because I just stopped at 3 decimal places. Okay, that's going to be more than accurate. Okay, that's going to be fine. However, in some other questions where the accuracy has to be more accurate than even that, you have to remember when you put this into the calculator. I go the 12, and obviously there's no dollar signs in the calculator. So I go 12.50. I always put 2 decimal places in just to remind myself I'm doing money. And I will times, and the thing is, I'm going to use that button. Okay, so I'm going to put that in, and then I'm going to do plus, and I'm going to go 2.30 times ANS. So the ANS button, as long as this was the previous question, the ANS button will remember your last answer and it'll remember all the decimal places. Okay, so that makes sure that when you're doing your rounding, you're not doing it until the absolute end. So I'm going to put exactly that in and let's see what we get. So I've got bracket 12.50 times ANS, close bracket, plus open bracket 2.30 times ANS, close bracket. So I've put exactly that in. I haven't put the 456.796. So let's have a look. The answer I get is 6760.585217. So with money, that's going to round to 6760.56. And that will be my cost, $6,760.56. Okay, that's right. That is correct. That is absolutely right. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it again, but with the 456.796. And let's see if we get a different answer. So I've got bracket 12.50 times 456.796, close the bracket, plus, open the bracket, 2.30, where is it, times 456.796. Must be so fascinating watching me type this in, or not actually watching, just hearing me. I'm going to hit equals, and I got 6760.5808, which I would then round to 6760.58. So you can see that this answer and this answer are slightly different. Because we rounded this in this version of it, we got 5.8. Whereas technically, using the full answer, we end up with 5.6. So which one is the correct answer? This one is the correct answer because we used the whole number. This one here is not actually correct. However, In most exam situations, we have a bit of what we call a bit of an error bar, so we can have a bit of leeway above and below. So if you got 6760.58, I would realize that you had done this, and I would probably give you the marks. But what I want you to be aware of is that in the grand scheme of things, 456.796, 12.5, and 2.3 are all very small numbers. So the error we got was very small. If those numbers were bigger, this error could have become much bigger, and it might have been an error in the dollars or in the hundreds of dollars or in the thousands of dollars. We could have had errors that big. So it's always important that instead of using the number that you've rounded, you use the exact value that came out of your calculator, okay? And the ANS button, the answer button, is the one to use, because that means it has remembered that number rather than you having to try and write down 10 decimal places. I hope that makes some sense. Okay.